I'm Daphne from Daps Makeup, here to give you the tea on luxury makeup, and I am excited to talk about Chanel's holiday collection. It's a very large collection. There are several pieces in it. Now, I got 4 pieces from the collection, so I did forego the lipsticks. There's like a laque formulation, which to be honest is not necessarily my favorite lipstick formulation from Chanel, and the colors didn't really speak to me. They are the laque lipsticks, which I actually do like their formula. And I was tempted by the dark one, but I own 2 that I really like, and I actually mixed the 2 together for this lipstick look. So I felt like I was satisfied with the current lipsticks that I own from them. There is a large highlighter that looked interesting because I know, especially if you get past the golden overspray, it has this pink iridescent tone to it, and obviously beautiful embossing. But I just felt like that, I wouldn't necessarily use it that much, and the eyeshadow and blush palette I can use as highlighter, so I also forego that. But what did I get, right? Well, I had to get, the main piece that I think the major piece in the collection. And so this is the eye and blush palette. It's called Enchanted Night. So I had to get this. These colors were just speaking to me. So I got that. They were 2 nail polishes. I got the deep one, purple, and you can see they're on my nails now. So there's a fun pink one, which I was tempted to get, and I might still get in the future. I think that one is especially fun for a holiday party, and I might get in the future, but I just felt this color was just perfect for the current fall season, perfect for Halloween time. So this shade is number 193, Storyteller. And so this shade, can look like it's black. It's so deep that it looks like it's black, but it actually has a purple undertone. I'm not sure if you can appreciate it, but in person, you can. I feel like it is the cousin to the Rouge Noir nail polish, which is still on my wish list. Classic nail polish where same thing, where it's very deep, where it's almost black, but that one has a red undertone. So it was cool that they made a purple version of it, and I just think it is perfect fall nail polish color. So I'm actually enjoying that a lot. Continuing with the eyes, I did get the liquid eyeshadow that comes with this collection, and so it is the Ombre Premier Laque in 47 Milky Way. And I just thought this color was so fun and cool. And then there's 2 liquid eyeliners. One that is more burgundy red tone, and one that's more purple tone. If you can guess, I went with purple. I was tempted by both, but I went with purple. And so it's number 538. And so hopefully you can appreciate that, but it's deep, but there's definitely a purple undertone. So as you can see, I do have an affinity to purple. And I actually have had these products for a while now, for like a week or 2. I've had it for a little while. So I have done several looks. I have been using all the products, so I have a good feel for the products at this point. If you've been following me on Instagram, Daps_makeup, you would have seen several looks from me from last week. I did, I think 3 looks using this palette alone. I did another look using just this this liquid eyeshadow, and then I certainly incorporated the liquid liner. I did it with the look here. I did it with the look here. I will say for today's look, I'm going to get a little bit closer. For this look, I decided to incorporate everything. And I have a demo video for that one. So I incorporated the liquid eyeshadow that I use as the base, and then I applied this purple shadow on top. Use this in the inner corner, and I use these 2 on my cheeks. So what I will do is I will show you some pictures go over the pictures that I posted on Instagram, some of the previous looks I've done with the palette and with this liquid liner by itself. I'll show you the demo video that you can see how I did this whole Chanel look today. And then, of course, I'll come back at the end to give you my final thoughts on these products. Quickly go over the looks that I've previously done. And if at any time I look like I'm looking down, I'm looking off at my phone just to look at the pictures that I did previously, but you'll be seeing it on the screen either next to me, over me, but you'll see. So in the first look that I ever did, what I did is I took the pink shade and I put it all over in my transition shade, and it really popped. That pink really did pop. On the lid, I put the orange all over the lid. That definitely shone bright. Now I had attempted to put the purple in my outer V to try to bring some depth and, you know, contrast. To be honest, I didn't feel like the purple really popped. I think the pink really overpowered the look, and the purple wasn't really popping and distinctive. So initially I was a little like, ooh, a little disappointed because I was so excited, particularly of the purple shade. But I didn't particularly feature it, but you know. Then on the cheeks, I used everything. I started with the orange in the balls of my cheek. I had added a little pink here, then I added purple here, and then I put the silver as highlighter. So I used them all, so I got to appreciate all the shades on my cheeks, and I felt these all actually worked well. Particularly these three. Once again, the purple, I felt like it wasn't popping as much as I wanted. But I really got to appreciate the orange and the silver on the cheeks, and then the pinkness brought some brightness to the look. So I thought that was a very fun look. The pink, the orange, I think those two shades in particular really popped for that look. And it was just a fun look. Even though it is fall time, I felt like I was doing a really fun summer look. So I know this is definitely a palette that not only will work for the holiday season, like for like a holiday party, but will actually carry on through to spring and summer. The second look, I was determined to make the purple stand out. So in that case, I had went with the purple and I put that in my transition, and I was like, yes, it really popped. I did the orange again on the lid, but then I put this on top of the orange, and this works so good as a topper. So this silver shade really does work good if you want to do it in a corner highlight as a topper, like on top of the orange, or it actually still worked on as a highlighter. I actually, I think on the cheeks, I did go into the purple on the cheeks, but then for the highlighter, I mix it to the orange and the silver. I put kind of started with the orange, and then I put those on top, and these two worked well together. But it was just great to see the purple really shine in my transition on my cheeks. I said no pink because I didn't want anything to interfere, but I thought it actually worked well. And as you can see, the purple has more of a pinky undertone to it. So that's going to come into play when we talk about the next. My third look that I posted on Instagram, I wanted to be a little bit more simple. You know, the first two looks were very fun. I was putting pink and purple in my transition, and it was a very fun look, but I wanted to then see like, okay, let's say I just took some neutral mattes outside from the palette in the transition and just picked one or two shades to put on the lid. And so that's what I did, neutral mattes, and then I put the purple on the lid, but then I also put some of the pink next to it. I think both on the outer and the inner corner of my eye. I will say, having the purple next to the pink, it was a little bit hard to distinguish both colors because, like I said, the purple, at least on me, has a very pinky undertone. And so even though both shades are definitely different shades, but when you put them next to each other, it can be hard to distinguish the two. They blend well together, but it will be, you know, not as distinctive. And then I had used both on the cheeks. They work both well on the cheeks, but like I said, you might not be able to tell where the pink and where the purple ends and begins. Lastly, I'm just gonna show you a picture of when I was using the liquid eyeshadow Milky Way, totally on its own, just kind of more of like a one and done kind of look. And yeah, I mean, depending on like the lighting and so forth, sometimes it can look just more gray, gunmetal, and then sometimes it can look more purple toned. I will show you how this works in action by now showing you the demo video. So check this out. You'll first initially see me use the liquid eyeshadow, then I'll incorporate some of these as eyeshadow and as blush. You'll get to see me use a liquid eyeliner. I hope you can appreciate it. I know purple and purple, it might not be as distinctive, but if you look at my previous looks where I had the orange on the lid, this really popped, and I think you can see the contrast there. But check out this demo video, and then I'm gonna really break down what I think about these products and their performance and just my overall thoughts. So I'm excited to do an eye look where I combine both of these Chanel products from the holiday collection. I've used both of these individually, but I'm excited to dip into both for this one look. I've used some outside Pat McGrath mattes just in the crease. I'm gonna first start with the liquid laque, the liquid eyeshadow first, and I'm gonna apply that onto the lid, and then we'll incorporate the shimmers. All right, so I'm going to open this up, and you can see the doe foot. I hope you can appreciate its shape. All right, so I'm gonna apply with the flat end directly onto the lid, and you can see if you apply it directly on and you get a very thick layer, you can get a very thick layer and it'll be very pigmented. Now I'm also gonna break out a brush. Now if you do that, you'll see it'll shear it out, and you also can see, since I have a hooded eyes, that it will, you have to watch out for creasing, and it will transfer into the, now I just kind of accept that because that's my eye shape. Eyeshadows will go into my crease. Oh, I probably blended that too much, but just gonna spread it out. Now I'm gonna add some more to the lid in a second, but I just wanted to add that there. Adding a little more because as we had sheared it out with the brush, we lost some of that. Now I'm gonna try to keep my eyes closed more so that there'll be less creasing this time. So you do really have to watch with this product about creasing, especially before you allow it to dry. Once it dries, it sets, but there's a little bit of a waiting period. And so it might be best, especially if you have a hooded eyes, to kind of keep your eyes closed for a few minutes to just try to let it dry. The brush to go back in and fill in any areas that I feel like there's been some patchiness, some missed spots from creasing. And I feel like just adding a little bit by bit, then you can fill in all this, any spots you might have missed, so you can make sure it applies to the whole lid. So that's what it looks like. I'm gonna allow this area to dry a little bit, and then we will incorporate the shimmers. I'll probably also go ahead and do the other eye, and we'll break out the other palette together. I just went ahead, I'm starting to do the other eye. I just actually didn't use a brush, and I just went with just the doe foot itself and applied a thick layer, just so that I don't miss any spots. I'm gonna allow it to dry, and then I will still add a little bit into the crease, just so it matches. And I just think with hooded eyes, it's nice when it kind of extends into the crease. But I just wanted to show you like a thick swatch versus spread out. Now there's still gonna be some areas where you might see a little bit of patchiness, a little bit of creasing. I'm just taking a little bit, I took off the doe foot and onto the brush, and I'm purposely on my own putting it more in the crease. And I am using the brush to like diffuse it out into the crease. I obviously could just stop here. This is just the liquid eyeshadow totally on its own, one and done, easy, right? But let's be extra. So I'm gonna take the purple shade here, and I'm gonna just use my finger, and I'm just gonna tap on top I just want to see this combination because I've used both of these on my lids by themselves. But I wanted to try seeing what the combo is because I think they will pair well together. You know, both of them, neither one has a very strong base, but I think together, it's colors that will go together and they can lend themselves. And if there's any areas that might be patchy or creasing, you know, this can kind of fill in the spots. I think this is a nice combo. All right, and then I'm gonna go into the silvery shade in the inner corner. This works great as a topper and as an inner corner highlight. I think that pairs well. So I'm gonna go off camera just to, you know, I might add maybe some shadow on the lower lash line, liner. We will do the liquid liner together. And then, so let me just finish up the eye look. Our lower lash line, I figured we'll still stick with Chanel, but from a previous collection, and this is the liner Neon Dahlia. These are the Stilo Ombre Couture. I just figured this color would probably pair well with these eyeshadows. I think that is pretty. And these are like great and easy to kind of smudge the lower lash line. And I just think these pair very well with the eye look. Now for a liquid eyeliner, and this is from the collection. So this is the deep purple one, 538. And this was actually my first time, not my first time using it, but this is my first time that I've ever purchased this product before, but I love a good liquid liner. I'm gonna do my best to try to do this on camera. This might be very difficult for me to do on camera. I'll try to do one eye with you on camera. The other one I'll definitely do off camera. So, but here we go. If I don't do this well, it's just because I suck at doing things on camera. It's just hard for me. And hopefully this color shows because it's like purple on purple. All right, so I hope you can appreciate that. I'm gonna finish the wing and everything else off camera because I don't want to mess this up. All right, so I've gone ahead and finished up the liner. Here it is. Hopefully you can appreciate. I know it's purple on purple, so it's not as big of a contrast as you'll see in a different look that I did, but I still think you can see it and appreciate it. So that was pretty actually easy to apply. So I'm gonna add some mascara and then we'll go on to the cheeks. Continuing with the Chanel purple, we are also going with the deep purple mascara that came with the fall collection. So we're incorporating some Chanel products from like the spring, summer, from the fall, and now even fall, winter, so, or holiday. So all seasons are being represented. And purple clearly was a favorite color for Chanel this year in all seasons, which I'm not mad at because purple is one of my favorite colors. So that did not bother me. I think I might just use a regular black mascara up top, but I thought the purple would be fun on the bottom lashes. All right, so the eye look is complete. We incorporated these two shades on the eye. So on the cheek, let's go for the pink and orange. Let's have some fun, and so that you can see how these two shades work. So I'm gonna start with the pink. I'm gonna use that as a blush, and I'm actually gonna use the orange shade as a highlighter. And I got my Chanel blush brush. It's one of my absolute favorite brushes to use, particularly with Chanel blushes. So you can see how pigmented that is, the pink. So that's how it looks on my cheeks. Do the same on the other side. It gives a luminous finish. So these can all, you know, potentially especially depending on skin tone, could potentially be used either as blush topper, or highlighter. So I'm gonna use the orange as a highlighter. I have used the orange as blush before, but today we're gonna go more the high points. And I think it actually still pairs well with the pink. Let me put it down the bridge of my nose. The orange will be more natural against my skin tone. And there are my cheeks. Let's keep going with the Chanel face. I even use Chanel Water Fresh Tint Foundation. So we're really doing a Chanel face. So might as well do Chanel bronzer as well for this look. Now I did not buy any lipsticks from the collection, but I do have a old Chanel Extrait lipstick. This one is in the shade Roaring Purple. So since we're going all purple with, with this look, might as well just pair it with this lipstick. And so we're using the same formula, just an older shade. And this is the final look. So those are the cheeks, the eyes. We've used Chanel for this whole look. All right, let's get back together and let me give you my final thoughts. All right, I hope you found that demo video helpful. So let's break this down. Let's start with the star, the Enchanted Night eyeshadow and blush palette. This retails for $88, so it is not cheap. Okay, but you do get a lot of product, for all that you're paying for. So you do make up for an amount of product. Now you have to decide for yourself, is it something that you're going to use enough that you feel like it's worth paying $88? I totally understand that this might not be everybody's go-to palette, and clearly this is not an everyday palette, and it was never marketed to be so. This is supposed to be for the holiday collection. So as you can imagine, this would be great to use at a holiday party. Now, I'm at no holiday party. I have no problem using it today or at other times. So for me, I don't care. I'll use it all year round. But I understand for some people, this might be a bit much that that you would find this to be only for special occasions like a holiday party. So you might find that this may be more limited for you. So that's gonna, definitely have to come into play in your decision. How often would you use these colors? I recognize that Chanel, with their new creative directors are moving in a direction that many traditional Chanel fans, customers, might not be happy with the direction. It's not something that they're used to. This whole 4-pan eyeshadow blush palette, this is not their first one. First, they had come out with two pans that were more of a neutral palette. I got the deeper of the two. Mind the mess, because clearly I love it, I use it. But I know there wasn't a lot of people that were a big fan of these, and these are very rare tone. That's not for everybody. But there is a lighter version for more fair skin, and then the deeper version for those with deeper skin tones to use. And these are, more neutral, good for a more simple, no light makeup look, traditional gold highlighter, red blushes. They do work on the eyes as well. And then I see that they're coming out with another palette. Now that one I can already tell, it looks very, it's very peachy tone, and it looks like it's going to be better for more fair skin tones. So I do plan on skipping out on that. But I do feel like, they're giving something for everybody, because this one, and I'm going to give you swatches and really break down these shades. Not saying that, that everybody can't use it, but obviously, this might work better for those with deeper skin tones. We can handle stronger colors. And so, I can understand how not everybody's going to be a fan of the colors chosen for this holiday season, but spoiler alert, I like it. So I have rolled up my sleeves, and let me just go ahead and just do some live swatches. So starting with this first one. So this shade here, as you can see, is more of a silvery tone, and you can, I think, appreciate the formula of this, that this, works very well as a topper. So when you're using on the eyes, you can place this on top of any of these shadows, and it looks well, it's great as a topper. You can use it in the inner corner like I did here. I think it works well as highlight. Not everybody's necessarily going to be a fan of this as a highlighter. You might feel like it might be too glittery for you or too icy. Like I said, you know, one thing I actually found, which was great, is that like I can mix the two. So I did a look where I put the orange first and then I put this on top, and so then it's not too icy. So you know, there is some versatility with this one, but it's definitely a formula that is kind of best as kind of topper highlighter. Okay, let's go with the purple. So the purple was the one that I was most excited about when I saw this palette come out, because I love a purple. So it's a pretty shade, and it's, you know, you can appreciate the purple. And I don't know if maybe like if I kind of bend the light, because depending on the light, you can see the purple more, but sometimes you can see it's more pink. And so I will say a lot of times on the eyes, it can come out very pink. Now, it's showing more purple today because I put it on top of the Milky Way, which I'm happy I got to do that, because then this brought out more of the purple. So if you want it to be more purple, and you happen to have this, you know, that'll work. Or even if you have a different base, because, you know, one thing you'll notice is that these don't have a strong base, you know, and I think they're trying to straddle the fence of having something that can work as an eyeshadow, but it also needs to be able to work as potentially a blush or highlighter. So they didn't give it a strong base. So there's pros and cons with that. So it does work solely on the eye, but you might want to but you could also use it on top of another eyeshadow or liquid eyeshadow, especially if you want to pull more of the pink or pull more of the purple, or just have something that has a lot more base to it. But I think it even on its own, it works beautifully on the lid, on the eyes, even in the transition, it blended well. And then for me, yeah, like if I put the purple right on my cheeks, I think it still worked well as blush. When I try to put a more high point next to the other blushes, it didn't pop as much. And this also can work as a blush top or highlight with another blush. So I've done a look off camera where I took an outside matte purple tone blush, and then I topped it off with this, and I also used a highlighter next to it, and it worked well. So on my skin tone, this color works. I understand for maybe fair skin tone how maybe it might come off looking like a bruise. All right. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me do the pink first so I can put that next to the purple. So swatching it, you can see the difference, pink and purple. But like I said, actually on the eyes, if you actually put them next to each other, it sometimes can be a little bit hard to distinguish this two, because believe it or not, honestly, this does come off more pink on my eyes. But this really definitely shows well on the eyes. Probably out of all of these, this probably works the best as blush. Not only for the, you know, having a more pinky traditional tone as a color, but I also feel like compared to the others, it's the one that is they all are luminescent, but it's the one I feel like has the least amount of glitter, the least amount of shimmer. I should say, forget glitter, but least amount of shimmer. So I feel like as a blush, just formula-wise, this just works a little bit better, both by formula and color. Now we're gonna put the orange next. And so this shade works beautifully, once again, on the eyes. I've done it on the lid. I've done it on the inner corner. Using it in the transition, I won't say it looks bad, but against my golden brown skin, it can kind of disappear a little bit. It doesn't pop as much as like the blue, the purple and the pink, like they really pop in the transition. But but you could still use this in the transition, I guess, if you're trying to do a more subtle look. But it really pops, I feel like, on the lid and inner corner. I feel like I can still pull this off as a blush, but it also works as a highlighter. I used it in the highlighter position today. I don't know if the lights are kind of washing it out, but it is actually the highlighter I'm using today, but the pink is kind of showing a lot on my cheeks right now. But I think this works as a good formula. So for me, I think they do work both as eyeshadow and blush. They work as toppers, they work as highlighters. I think there's a lot of versatility with this palette, and these are really fun colors. So if you like these colors, and you are of my skin tone, I think it's actually a great product. This is giving me a very Pat McGrath vibe. So that's the other thing. Like, I am someone who is a big Pat McGrath stan. So if you are someone who loves the vibe of Pat McGrath, then you're gonna love this. Or maybe even if you are a traditional Chanel customer but have always admired Pat McGrath, you know, this gives Pat McGrath, but it's still a little bit more pulled back than Pat McGrath. But if you have never found Pat McGrath's aesthetic and line to you, then this might not be for you. But I feel like this is for the Chanel customer who also likes Pat McGrath. That's what this palette is great for. So for me personally, I actually really like it. Okay. Now let's get to the liquid eyeshadow. So there was only one in the collection, and it's the shade Milky Way. Selling it at the price of $38. So let me give you a swatch of this. And it has an interesting doe foot. It kind of has a triangular shape to the side, but it's flat on both sides. So I'm going to swipe on the flat side, sorry. So here's a heavy swatch. And so here, you know, I think you can appreciate the purple. So sometimes depending on the lighting and how you apply, sometimes it can look a little bit more gray, sometimes it can look a little more purple. There's definitely some sparkles in here. Now I want to spread this out before it dries, because then I want you to see the difference between doing a heavy swatch and then spread out there. Once I spread it out and sheer it out, you can appreciate the sparkles more. I feel like almost the gray tone is more apparent, but you could still, it's a cool color. It's a grayish purple, and I really like it in terms of the tone. Now, you know, liquid eyeshadows can be tricky to work with, particularly if you have hooded eyes. So, you know, like I said, you can take the doe foot and apply a thick layer. But if you take a brush, once you start spreading it out, you'll see it really sheer out. Now you have to watch out that it could get patchy. You know, at some point it's gonna dry. It dries pretty quickly. So you have a limited amount of time to work with it. You can though, like you saw on the camera, I actually did reapply again and filled up any spots that I noticed in terms of patchiness. If you have hooded eyes like me, it's gonna crease. So, you know, like either you gotta put it on and keep your eyes closed like this for an extended period of time and allow it to dry, because the minute you blink, the minute you move, it's gonna crease up. I just go with the crease, and then like I just spread it up and just say, hey, you know, let it go up a little bit higher. And I think for my eye shape anyway, it's always best if my eyeshadow goes up into the crease. So, you know, I extend it up higher. Now, it works beautifully on its own, but as you can see today, you can also add an eyeshadow on top, like put a topper shade, and that works well too. So I like it. You know, it's a tricky formula, just like how most liquid eyeshadows are. So I won't say it's like so much harder than a traditional liquid eyeshadow, but you know, it gets a little bit tricky. But once it's dry, you're great. You're great. It's just, you know, that period of time in that in between, trying to, you know, get everything smooth, you know, until it dries. But overall, I actually really like it, and I just think it's such a cool color. And for any Lisa Eldridge fan, if you were curious how it compares to her liquid eyeshadow in Liza, I'll just show you. It is different. So you can see the difference. So the Lisa Eldridge is definitely a straight gray gunmetal, versus the Chanel has a purple undertone to it. So now you can see the difference. And I think you can also see the difference in formula. If you're asking me which one's better, I would go with Lisa Eldridge, because you can see how, like when I swatched it, you're not getting the same patchiness. But, you know, I also appreciate, though, with the Chanel, I actually do appreciate the sheerness to this, and it has dimension with the glitter and so forth. This is more of a flat, opaque, so it's just more of actually a preference too. Like if you want something that is truly opaque over the eyes, the Lisa Eldridge will give you that. I do appreciate the sheerness to it because, especially with a smoky color like that, I actually like the haziness to it. It really does, like a Milky Way, the universe in the eyes, and I kind of actually like the haziness to it. And then, like I said, if you want to add any topper shades, then that works well. It lends itself because, you know, if I wanted to, a topper shade on top of this wouldn't really work, but a topper shade on top of the Chanel would work. So there's a difference with the formulas. So yeah, I might say maybe in general, I prefer Lisa Eldridge formula, but I do appreciate the difference in how Chanel's work, and it certainly wouldn't stop me from buying another one if I saw a color story that I really liked. And then quickly, the liquid eyeliner. Here is a swatch, and like I said, I got the purple tone. There is one that is more of a red tone. I actually really like that, you know, and I like that it's deep. So, you know, that it really provides definition on my eyes when I line it. Like I said, you're not gonna maybe fully appreciate it here because I'm doing purple on purple. I hope you can appreciate there. But especially like if you're doing a contrasting eyeshadow, it really shows. And for liquid eyeshadows goes, I think it works well for me. I know that doing using liquid eyeliners and doing wing liners is not easy for many people. You know, I'm someone who does use liquid eyeliners like all the time. So for me, in general, I just don't have a problem using liners in general and doing wing liner. So I don't find this difficult for me to use. You know, so if you're somebody who's used to doing liner, you won't have a problem with it. So I actually do like the formula, and I do like the color. And as you can see, the nail color as well. There you go. If you, with the nail color, if I were to just do one, I have several coats on. If you were to just do one coat, then you could appreciate the purple a little bit more, but the more coats you add, the deeper and darker it gets. So just giving you a heads up with the nail polish, but love the nail polish. So that's the whole collection, at least what I purchased from the collection. For my opinion, I'm actually happy with all my purchases. Like I said, I understand it may be not everybody's cup of tea color story, but for me, these are all colors that I truly liked. I think all the products in general performed well. You know, I mean, using the eyeshadow and blush palette, obviously the blush has a luminescent formula to it. And if you're not into that, you know, then obviously this is not for you. I am someone who normally prefers a matte blush, but I actually like these. I think they're actually really pretty. And I find, like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like the RMS blushes. I remember I bought an RMS blush that was like a purple tone, and that did not show up on me, and I was really disappointed. I actually gave it away. But this gives me what I had wanted from the RMS blush. So I actually really do enjoy this. So that's the kind of finish. If you like that kind of RMS luminescent blush formula, then you'll enjoy these as blushes. Like I said, if you don't like them as blushes, you can, especially if you're my skin tone, you can definitely use these as highlighters. I understand if you're a fair skin tone, then these colors may not be maybe too deep to be using as a highlighter, and then you're just using it as just eyeshadow. And then is this worth it for me? Because I can use it, I truly can use it as eyeshadow, blush topper, highlighter. For me, it's worth it, and I do appreciate the big pan size that my blush brushes go into it well. My highlighter brushes go into it well. I think these are really great to use with your finger, particularly on the lid. I think these are great to particularly use your finger rather than even a brush. So these are perfect shape to place your finger in. So for me, this palette is worth it, but I understand it's not for everybody. All right. That is my thoughts on the Chanel Holiday Collection. I hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you found it helpful. If you aren't already subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel. But until then, I'll show you what's next that comes into my collection. I will tell you, I have one more luxury holiday collection to share with you. So hopefully I'll post another video in another week or two, and I will share it. Follow my shorts because I usually give you a heads up of what's coming in my shorts. And definitely on Instagram, Daps_makeup, you'll always see eye looks prior on my Instagram. So that's another one way you'll know what's coming next. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.